Hello and welcome to this series of explanatory videos about the assistance on the EVA platform. My name is Sylvain Langley. I am a coach here and I will guide you through the demonstration of this assistant, which will help you with content generation, automating some of your tasks, web research, and transferring online research information, as well as collaborating with your colleagues and drafting content for your meetings. So enjoy watching and we'll see each other at the very end. In today's video, we will introduce you to Jen, who assists you in managing, writing, and overseeing projects related to your financial aid and grant applications. So, several key features: searching for and identifying funding opportunities, analyzing eligibility criteria, preparing and writing grant applications, and tracking and managing finance-related projects. And I've prepared a few examples for you. So in this case, I'm using Jen in chat mode in my organization where I have several assistants. So I ask it, here is my strategic plan. Which projects are eligible in connection with this attached funding program? So here I shared a strategic plan that I found on the website of the city of Radon, and I ask it to analyze it, and I also share a financial assistance program. So the tool responds, "Thank you for your question. I will analyze your two documents," meaning the strategic plan and the attached funding program. The tool reviews and compares the project's focus areas with my planning. So this is one way to make AI tools work, by asking them to query the documents and provide us with their findings. This allows us to understand whether the tool has fully grasped my document and if it is able to interpret it correctly in order to help me draft the application. So it analyzed and tells me here that it will get back to me quickly with a clear list of projects. So it identified one project, the OASIS program, which is a dedicated funding initiative that supports municipal greening projects, planting, infrastructure development, and aims to reduce the impacts of heat waves, combat urban heat islands, and so on. So he tells me that the program is eligible for Stream 1, Planning and Analysis, Stream 2, and Stream 3. It's up to 2 million and up to 2 million for planning, up to 25 million for green infrastructure. Here it gives me the source, so it comes from the OASIS program, a grant for greening. So we have the source of the document it consulted to generate its response. The main areas, so we can see them. Here we're in Radon's strategic planning. It makes the connection with the PAI, so the Green Infrastructure Project, and Project 4 Development. So it clearly understood the strategic planning. It made the connection with the assistance program. And it tells me that it's entirely possible to integrate it into the OASIS project, particularly in the area related to planning, diagnostics, and greening plans. Here again, we still have the connection, the PAI, and it mentions the projects. The Municipal Administration Project is co-responsible. It's definitely part of the planning. Honestly, I haven't read the 2016-2030 planning document. You can leave a comment. People from Radon or those nearby who are familiar with the document will be able to comment on it. Example of an eligible project according to your PAI and OASIS. So it gives me a list of projects that would be eligible. The more difficult and non-eligible projects, so purely tourist projects, etc. He tells me that these would be more difficult to approach in order to get a favorable response. And he talks to me about Project Area 3, Green Infrastructure, which is entirely relevant. So for Project Area 4, the planning could fully meet the financial assistance program. I ask him where he found the OASIS program. I really want to commit to a company, to an organization, so that afterwards they can do research for us and become familiar with our environment and get to know us in order to draft the most compliant application possible. Here I did a reverse search starting from a plan and a program so that he could make an association to see whether in my plan the grant is eligible. I could have asked him to do online grant research. We'll see that a little later. He gives me the amounts, etc., the deadline, the official link, and then I ask him, and with the International Sports Events Support Program Evaluation Report, what could he do? So I shared a second program with him, and he gives me information where I could enter into a second program, which is this program here that I'm going to show you. In fact, it's the sports event support program that I shared with him a little earlier. And he comes back to me again with information. He references the program, so in his evaluation report. And again, I could have him work with this program here in connection with my strategic planning. So the different programs available, you could share them with him along with your planning. He would guide you towards the programs that align with your objectives. So alignment with the strategic plan. For a municipality like Radon, this would be relevant insofar as a project in your planning aims to, for example, organize an international sporting event, promote the upgrading of facilities, etc. Local, regional, and national activities, as well as sports festivals without international sanction, are not eligible. So he is able to accurately identify the criteria of a program and bring us information to help us make the most appropriate decision. And I ask him, in connection with the strategic planning, what do you propose? So he suggests an eligible project to me, which would be to host an international sporting event. For example, hosting a championship or an international tournament. He creates the connection for me with the planning. So with the second area of focus, the planning that talks about revitalizing the downtown and increasing visibility, organizing such an event would strengthen Rawdon's visibility. Third area of focus, sports and recreational infrastructure. This could justify the modernization or sustainable construction of sports facilities. Fourth area of focus, attractiveness and quality of life, so offering the local population the opportunity to attend high-level competitions and encouraging sports participation among young people. So, when it comes to preparing the application, the suggested step is to determine with the Quebec Sports Federation the possibility of hosting an event, to develop the proposal, and to optimize it with other aspects of your planning. So it brings me to other things that are related to areas 2 through 7 and a summary of the conditions that must be met for submission. So it gives me the specific information. So the idea was to show you that we can use AI as a response engine, meaning we can query documents, share with it the objectives we need or want to achieve in order to prepare requests eventually, and to develop programs and funding applications that align with our needs. I've also carefully prepared a second exercise that is directly related to the MATA family policy. And same thing, I took the paperclip and shared the MATA family policy with it, which is here. And I asked it, in fact, I simply said, here is my strategic plan and MATA and family policy. Propose a plan for this project. And then I copied the link for it because we're in the period, it's August 8, 2025. We are in the project period, the submission period for New Horizons for Seniors projects. So I drew inspiration from that. The tool responds to me. Thank you for the information and access to your MATA strategic plan and family policy. I will do a first quick read through of the key areas in your document and suggest a relevant project to submit to the New Horizons for Seniors program. And here's my approach. I will extract the main priorities and needs mentioned. I will align the project with the program's criteria, which focus on the social well-being and inclusion of seniors. Do you have a deadline in mind? Yes, the tool is designed to ask us about the submission date, because when it searches for the application, we want it to check the end date or the date the program ends, the final submission date, so that we can develop a program, have the necessary time to write it, and be able to submit it before the deadline. So I tell it 2025, 2026, I'm being rather vague. It replies, thank you for the clarification, and here is my approach. It analyzes the planning. It will suggest a project to me and says, I will analyze your document, please wait a moment. And we're in Saint-Anne-des-Plaines, so I couldn't remember where it was. I also got it from the web. So I did a search a bit earlier on a family policy, a senior-friendly policy. So this is the one from Saint-Anne-des-Plaines. It tells me it suggests a project, the creation of an intergenerational hub and a health and wellness space for seniors. It summarizes the project for me, so health workshops, intergenerational activities. Now I'll leave the page here. Those who want to read it can take the time to do so. The key elements are related. He also connects it to the program, so promotion of volunteering, since it's linked to the New Horizons for Seniors program and aligns with the strategic priorities we have. Here you can see there are a lot of hyperlinks. This comes from the MADA policy. So in this case, the content of the text was generated with reference to the planning, actually to the MADA Senior and Family Policy and Plan. The examples of activities they propose include gardening workshops, technology sessions, sharing circles, and so on. And the strength of this approach is that it brings me details. So then I ask it here, a detailed description of the activities, because it suggests that to me at the end. Would you like a detailed description of the activities? Do you want a sample budget plan? Would you like the project to address more specific needs? So I could enhance what it suggests to me in the context of this exercise. I want to go faster, so I simply wrote a description of the activities. It gives me back a description of the activities for the intergenerational hub project, the gardening workshop that fits well with it. So I'm going to go through this quickly. We've already spent about 12 minutes. The health and wellness workshops, friendly sentinels, success factors, etc. So I had reached this stage. What I did next was open a second tab, and we'll take a look at the second tab. And I also looked up the eligible expenses for the New Horizons for Seniors projects. We'll come back to that. It's for the reporting. And here, what I asked him was, I said, here's the project I'm going to carry out. You're going to help me write my grant application. And this is an online application. Our tools can respond to online requests in real time, but in this case, I didn't integrate automation. So I'm going to show you how to do it step by step by questioning the tool. And I ask it to answer each question one by one. Well, they were questions in this case, sorry. I just noticed I made a typo. And here I put a colon. Here I wrote, here is a detailed description of the activities for the intergenerational hub and health and wellness space project for seniors. If you remember, that's the project we just looked at a moment ago. So I'm going to show it to you here. The intergenerational hub and health and wellness space for seniors. So what I did was simply copy this document, actually this response from my tool. I could have continued in the same conversation. I opened a second window for the end of the exercise because you might have any project on hand, something you've started writing, and you could simply open a new page like I did and say, here is the project I'm going to carry out. You were in a working committee, you wrote up a project and you want to include it in a funding request. You use it for your funding request. Well, you do just like I did. Here is the project I'm going to carry out. I want you to help me write my online grant application by answering each question one by one. It still understood that it was answer, but sorry, here it should have been question. And then I copied the Carrefour Intergenerational Project, Health Space, and all the information you saw in one single block. So the tool replies to me, excellent description for drafting your application to the New Horizons for Seniors program. We're going to proceed step by step as I asked it by answering the questions, so it corrected itself. Typically asked in this kind of form. So there's already an idea of the program. Keep in mind that I'll show you later on that we can connect the tool to the web, we can train it, and we also have additional tools on the side. Here there's a toolbox with EVA Search that can help us with other similar tasks and also connect in real time to our email inboxes or other automation actions with the EVA platform and the integrated MCPs. So let's start with the first question. What is the title of the project? Suggested adaptation type of project, that's up to me. So here, in this case, this assistant that I see here modified, I'm going to show you. It hasn't been adapted for any municipality yet. You work for the company EVA, your grant research is exclusively for Quebec, and it hasn't been adapted for any organization. It is level 1 grant assistance. So in the case where we integrate it into an organization, whether public or private, we will instruct the assistant, we will provide it with information about the organization so that it can know the organization's contact details, the demographic profile of the region, and any particularities, so that when it completes the grant application, it is as coherent as possible and tailored to your environment. So it becomes a tool that absorbs your regional and local realities. We start at the provincial level and adapt it to the regional and local levels. So in this case, I tell it, this project will benefit and I got the information from the website of the city of Rawdon. And here you can see that earlier I was working with the Amis des Aînés program from the city of Sainte-Anne-des-Plaines, I believe. Wait a moment, I'll go back and check if it answered me. Yes, Sainte-Anne-des-Plaines. So I started over with the full text that wasn't personalized, and I told it that we were going to create a request. And now I simply adapt it to the city of Rawdon, and then I continue. Thank you for the clarification. And here we can see that it has learned. Normally that information would be in its knowledge base. I wouldn't have to go through that process. It asks me to specify whether the form needs a person's name, an organization number, who already wants to work, and I tell it, here is the textual and demographic profile, so you can adapt your answers to the questionnaire as accurately as possible. So I went to get information from the Rawdon website, but I also looked for information on the web that I definitely would have integrated into the assistant beforehand, but this helps to understand the local specifics. Basically what I did was I looked up the identification for Rawdon, and I also went to the Statistics Canada website to get information on the demographic profile so that the tool could really understand the local and regional specifics. In order to adapt an age-friendly program to an older population, it needs to know what my reality is, because we have to meet certain criteria in the program. And our goal is for the tool to meet 100% of the program's requirements. So in this case, it tells me, thanks for the information. I will use it to personalize each response, demonstrate the project's alignment with the local reality, support its relevance for the senior clientele, the entire population, etc. So it already knows, it has a good idea of what it is. It says to me, if you're ready, move on to the section, what are the main objectives of the project? Then, would you like me to shorten this section? So it's designed to help me ask myself questions and assist me in brainstorming and coming up with ideas. Here are the first questions. That's what I wrote to it. Respond by adding both the question and the answer. So both. So that I can copy and paste it afterwards. 2 points. Here I forgot to select the S from section B, part 1. And I'll show you what I did. So what I did was I simply selected the question. So I went to the form, I highlighted it, and when I ask questions, I try to take as many as possible to avoid endless copy pasting, like part 1, organization, etc. And I go up to here. I could take the organization's address, the phone number, for example, along with the number. I do Control-C, copy, and I go back to the assistant and I pasted it, organization from the form, organization identification. So that's what I put here. Section B, organization, organization identification, etc. And it simply generated a response for me. So identification. It knows that I am the municipality of Rawdon. We saw it earlier. It mentioned it. Common usual name, as if it's different. It's not different. The year, it had it in the statistics. The type of public organization. Do we have a number? Yes. And I give it the next part. The next part was email address. So I copied and pasted my questions. It answers me with the city's contact information. And what I did on the side, well, what I did was copy and paste the information. So when I got my first set of answers, I copied them here, I pasted them. And you see the mailing address is the same. Describe the main activities. And now look at the answer. We're going to go back into the assistant. Describe the main activities of your organization, of your entity, in 500 words or less. Write a summary of your activities and provide information about your organization's activities, any specific groups that use the same facility if applicable, such as the Seniors Club, the Royal Legion. It's in the program here that we have that information. describe in 500 words or less. So I copied and pasted it here. Normally I could have filled it out online. I could also simply take the answer it generates for me and paste it into the form. You have different ways of working with the tools, and you can also just you'll see in a video, in an upcoming video, the advanced features of Gen, where you can connect in real time and complete online forms. So describe the main activities of your organization in 500 words or less, following all the instructions on the form. So the question and the answer. The municipality of Rawdon is the largest in the MRC. It serves as the administrative, social, and community hub of the Northern Laurentians, thanks to its town hall, recreational facilities, spaces, and halls. So it's answering for me while respecting the 500 words. It's talking about the groups, so it consulted the information. It's mentioning the groups, the town hall. So I'll stop here and I could just copy and paste the information into my blog. And we can see that it doesn't go over since it used all my characters. I even have 5,910 characters left. So I could have told it to continue and add more characters. The next question, as we can see here, was select the target group or groups that best match the main activities of your organization. You may select more than one. I shared the entire list with it. And here, this is the suggested list for the municipality of Rawdon according to your mission, your project description, and the demographic profile. So it takes that into account. The question and the answer. So seniors, youth, low-income individuals, newcomers, people with disabilities, remote regions. And this reflects Rawdon's inclusive and diverse approach while emphasizing its focus. So this was to show you how we can use tools to fill out forms or submit applications. We could have had a PDF application that we attached, and it would have filled out all the questions in the form one by one. So if I come back here to the other tab, I'll finish with this, which was for accountability. So here, this was still within the framework of the New Horizons for Seniors program. I told it, here is the list of eligible expenses for the New Horizons program. Can you sort this list of expenses, colon. And then I provided it with a document. So the document and all your documents related to grant applications or financial assistance programs, there are criteria, and the criteria are definitely well defined. So in this case, it consulted them and I said, here is the list of expenses. I'm doing it at the same time. I'm not working in two steps in this case. And I asked to sort this list of expenses. Two things. And where does this list of information come from? I'll show you. It's from my own personal Rawdon project. You have the list of eligible expenses for the project. And I have the expenses for the Village Festival project here. So look, the expenses are unstructured, and I shared my unstructured expenses with it. And what I'm asking the tool to do is to organize and categorize them. So it could have been invoices, PDF formats. It still would have been able to interpret the document, a list, maximum 10 documents. Unless you merge them all into the same PDF, you could have a PDF with 40 invoices. It will analyze them, it will categorize them. So it tells me here is the categorization of expenses for the Village Festival project according to the main categories designated by the New Horizons program. So we see personal expenses, travel expenses, I'll go quickly because time is short, and rental expenses. So it has classified and categorized them into different sections. I look at this and I think to myself, I would like this same list to be made with a table in 3 sections with eligible expenses, those to be validated, and those that are not eligible. He redid the thing for me in 3 tables. Eligible expenses, expenses to be validated, and non-eligible expenses. I didn't have any non-eligible ones, I just had a few to be validated. I see here that he didn't add the amounts, and that bothers me. He gives me references, he gives me information, some context. I ask him to add the prices and the total calculation per column for the items. So he took the eligible expenses again, the amounts, the expenses to be validated, the amounts and non-eligible expenses, so there weren't any. He came back with the same thing. Here we even see totals when I had asked him. He put them at the bottom and tells me that the expenses for soft drinks for clients need to be validated according to the program, only accepting these justifications for the link with the activity for the targeted participants. So surely there are criteria. This classification makes it easier to present the application, etc. So I asked him to extract it for me as Excel files, which he did. And we're going to look at the file together. Expense for the village festival. So the file, well, he made it for me with the expenses. Here I don't have my two tabs separated by account like I had in the table. So he didn't follow the file correctly in detail here without making me a single line. I would need to go analyze it for that, but it was just to give you an overall idea that we can do it. We could also simply copy the information. There won't be any formulas that come along, but we could copy the information, go into an Excel file. He made me 3 tabs. Okay, I hadn't seen that earlier. It made me 3 tabs. So eligible to validate, not eligible. I'm going to add a new tab and show you what I could have done. I could have copied and pasted everything from my file. Here I have a black background that I could remove. I could have copied it in another way too, done a different type of paste. I'm going to go back, I'm going to erase it. I could have done another kind of paste as well, like this, and I would have had it in detail just the same. So there are different ways to use GenAI's functions. And as I mentioned earlier, we could have also simply initiated the process by starting with new requests within the system. From there, we would have explicitly informed Jen, the AI assistant, that I have a significant project to undertake, which involves the comprehensive construction of a brand new community center. To ensure efficiency and to expedite the entire process, I would then proceed to set a definitive submission date right away, specifically targeting September 30th, 2025, to ensure timely completion and adherence to the project timeline. And basically, Jen's program is to help you find the programs to do the writing, because it knows your context, it knows your environment, and then to follow up on the project. Here we also see that with the Perplexity tool, it does an online search to look for available grant applications, and then it generates hyperlinks to the available grants online, allowing us to consult them. So you always have a range of complementary tools on the side, such as Google or other links to programs you know. You could also, as we see here, it's currently responding with programs that will be related to our tool. You could also simply add links yourself. So do you have websites that you consult for financial aid? Write the website here, give the name, add it to your assistant. This will allow it to consult sites that you are used to checking. You will add your strategic planning and documents here in the knowledge base like I did, but these are ways to feed the tool so it understands your context and drafts requests according to your needs. So here it drafted for me several financing options, practical advice, and I could keep working with the tool to have it work on a program project. So my name is Sylvain Langlais. Thank you. A little over 30 minutes talking about January. I hope this will help you. Feel free to contact our team at coachevaia.ai for any inquiries.